Side with Professor John Christopher Buer, who is a White House correspondent at Real Political News. Good afternoon, evening to you. Morning.
Well,
What is it?
it's afternoon. I'm
Yes.
glad it's evening to you. It means it's close to cocktail time. David, I'm enjoying you. I've been watching you. I've been reading your tweets, and I'm following you. So you in turn can follow me. You'll get billions of Americans on your Twitter feed. Anyway, it's lovely to be with you.
Well, I know that sounds like a splendid thing. I lived in America for some 5-6 years, so I'm very pleased to have any American followers.
Next time, drop by. I'll get you a meeting in the West Wing. I'll get you to see someone.
I was only in DC like 5 weeks ago.
Well, you give me a call next time.
I will. Thank you very much indeed. So tell us what's going on. Let's talk about, first of all, obviously this the hearing that's going on regarding the Capitol.
Yes, the hearing is just taken a little break. There's a lot in store when they come back from their August recess. They all have to go home and campaign. You know, the House is up every 2 years. But what's happening is they have assembled, as you may have seen over the last couple of months, some amazing witnesses, some wonderful young ladies, as a matter of fact, who had shown the courage over the graying old you-know-whats who didn't even bother to show up when they were subpoenaed or when they were asked to come and speak to the committee. And it's opened up a whole new system here. So what we're seeing is that they're on recess, but something has happened this past week that most of the Democrats and the progressives were really pushing for. They were in fact irked that the mild-mannered, it's almost like a mild-mannered reporter for Planet, Merrick Garland, who is not Clark Kent, but he is very methodical. He is very structured. He is now very much on focus, and he is bringing in some very important people who are very close to the president to speak to him at the Department of Justice. And this sets a whole new system going on. And it looks like Donald Trump is now he's out at Bedminster, courting the Saudis at this LIV tournament, which is getting all kinds of flack, especially from the families of 9/11, who was just 60 miles away from downtown New York. Bedminster is, and he's looks like he's kind of losing it. And what he's losing is he's losing the support from the GOP, from the Grand Old Party, as you know, and they're looking at alternatives. They're looking at DeSantis. They're looking at Nikki Haley. They're looking at Pompeo and others who they think will have more of a chance to pull this country together, because Donald is he's becoming a bit like a mad king. I mean, I've known him for all my life. I grew up a mile and a half away from him in Queens, and he's always been a bit bizarre, but now the pressure is on. So let's see what happens.
I watched Trump give that speech, actually, and he's a man on a mission, isn't he? He's almost got a deity-like complex. He believes that he will be back, that he will actually be president again.
It's interesting that you use that word. I know it's an old word, and I went to parochial school, and we used about deification. Talk about a deity. There is apostates, there is apostles, and no matter what he does, they're in a sense one with him. They believe in him so much that I think they are him, and he believes the same way with his disciples. And it's rather frightening. But this is blind religious faith, and this is what is frightening about this country at this very moment.
I mean, it's reinforcement, we call it in medicine. Reinforcement. The fact is, you're surrounded in an echo chamber by the people who believe exactly what you believe, and of course, then you believe it even more.
And there's the transference concept as well, if we want to get into the psychological. The doctor. No, real men get therapy, I believe. So I learned a few things. He wants to run for president again to try to insulate himself from any prosecution, because there was concern that you really can't prosecute a presidential candidate. But Merrick Garland has made it very clear, no one is above the law, and he will pursue anyone who has broken the law. And I think that is Donald Trump's marching orders. So he better get with it, and he better maybe take a trip back on the plane to Saudi Arabia with the potentates. Well, I used to call them potentates.
Right. Okay. What else is going on in your crazy country?
Well, that's going on, and we have Nancy Pelosi, who's the third in line to become president. She's taken off to Asia, and we don't know whether or not she's going to be stopping in Taiwan. Now, I adore Nancy. She's a great gal from Baltimore. But I have to tell you something. She is going, in a sense, against the will of this administration. So there's a whole the whole Taiwan and China. So President Biden was on the phone last night with Chairman Xi in China over the phone. There was a readout of that. I can send it to you. And he's concerned that this could cause more problems. We don't need another war going on in Asia when we have one going on in Europe, and it's dreadful what's going on there. And many people believe that the United States isn't doing enough, and it's a sin. It really is hurting people. It's hurting our morale. It's hurting the spirituality of the world when we see terrible things happening to soldiers and cities getting annihilated. Slavy Ukraini is all I can say.
Well, I saw the rhetoric back from China saying don't meddle in things you don't understand, and the ramifications will be severe over Taiwan.
That's what he said, and he's a threat, and he's got another threat not far away in North Korea with Kim Jong-un. So it's hot stuff. It's hot sauce. It's worse than Szechuan chicken. It's really burning. It may burn a hole in a lot of our diplomatic relations. And I think it's important to understand the global picture of what's leering out there for Americans and for the Brits, I might say. We've been following your world, and I have to say nothing is more exciting than your elections and than your Tory leadership.
Really?
I say that tongue in cheek. But
I was going to say you need to get out more.
I like the debates, though. I think I was involved in the first ever leadership debate when I was with Sky News, and it's a great thing that you've in a sense taken the Nixon-Kennedy model and brought up debates, and I think it's a wonderful thing. But the Republicans here will not debate. They have said, they put out a proclamation from the Republican National Committee, our candidates aren't debating. Well, why not?
Yeah,
well,
why not?
They may say something, and the Dems may turn it into a 30-second ad. David, very cheeky all of us are.
I know. Let me just ask you on something. I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a clip that's going around on Twitter about Nancy Pelosi. She seemed to talk absolute nonsense. Have you seen that?
No. You mean just a...
She was giving a speech, and it basically was a load of rambling old nonsense, and I just wondered if she's quite well enough.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor. I don't have a degree. They call me professor, but I don't even have a PhD. I'm an adjunct and a lecturer, but I don't know much about what's going on in someone's brain. If I were a psychiatrist, I would be able to diagnose someone.
Indeed.
But there's
it was a bit unfair of me to ask you without showing you the clip. Anything else stateside?
Well, it's humid today. It's not as miserably hot, and fungus is growing everywhere.
Lovely.
We're keeping our eyes on your Tory fund, and we're concerned about what's going on in Ukraine. But we've got a few months, and then we have an election. We have a midterm election, which means all the members of the House of Representatives are up. You know this, and then I believe a third of the Senate is up too. So there could be a very big sea change. But although Biden was not doing too well a week ago, he's got a lot of things passed this week, and he's actually looking pretty darn good. And he's over COVID, for God's sake. He beat it.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, it is a very strange country, the one you live in. You seem to love elections the whole time.
I've had enough, and I've been involved in them since I'm 12. What's wrong with me?
Which was only 20 years ago, obviously. Thank you very much. The next time I'm in Washington, D.C., I'll obviously let you know. I mean, I was there at the Capitol building itself, so I should have popped in for a cup of tea.
A meal, or we'll go out for a nice drink.
Marvellous. I look forward to it. Thank you very much indeed, Professor John Christopher Buer there, who is a White House correspondent at Real Political News. Honestly, if you have not been to America, you really need to go. And actually, I have to say, Washington is such an impressive city, actually. It's a very, actually, I hate to say this, it's a very European city. It's beautifully planned. It's a lovely city, and you really get the sense of the power there in Washington, D.C. After the break, we'll be talking about GPs. I know many of you struggling to see a general practitioner. We've learnt that only 1 in 4 GPs are working full time. Are you struggling to see a GP? I'll be talking to Dr. Lawrence Gurlis, who is a GP at Same Day Doctor. This is Talk TV. We're broadcasting live from the Talk Radio studios.